Let's now transition into exploring strategies for enhancing the performance of our queuing system. To determine the number of customers in service and in the system, we use Little's law, which states that the number of items in a system, I, equals the rate at which items are arriving, R, multiplied by the average times that an item spends in the system, T. In our case, the flow rate, lambda, is equals to the inverse of the inter-arrival time, A. This flow rate is equal to the demand rate as we are demand constrained, with utilization being less than 100%. The inventory in the queue, LQ, is calculated as the product of the flow rate and time in queue, or equivalently, time in queue divided by the inter-arrival time. The inventory in service, IP, can be found by multiplying the number of servers, K, by the utilization, rho, or equivalently, the average activity time, P, divided by the inter-arrival time, A. The time in service remains constant regardless of the number of servers, since only one server processes a customer at a time. The total inventory in the system, L, is the sum of the inventory in the queue and the inventory in service. As an example, consider a system with 3 servers, K equals 3, and a utilization rate of 0.666. Rho equals 0.666. In this scenario, the inventory in service would be IP equals 3 times 0.666 equals 2. If the time in queue, WQ, is 1.19 and the inter-arrival time, A, is 2, the inventory in the queue will be LQ equals 1.19 over 2 equals 0.596. Adding this together, we find that the total inventory in the system is L equals IP plus LQ equals 2.596. In comparing the effectiveness of 3 queuing systems, we consider 3 models: a pooled system, a partially pooled system, and a separate queue system. In the pooled system, we have a single queue served by 4 servers. Contrastingly, the partially pooled system has 2 queues, each served by 2 servers. And the separate queue system is made up of 4 queues, each served by 1 server. Despite the structural differences, these systems maintain the same variability. CVA equals 1, CVP equals 1, total demand 1 over 35 customers per second, activity time P equals 120, and utilization 85.7%. With the probability of a server being busy standing at 0.857 across the board. By comparing the time in queue and the system's overall flow time, we can evaluate which structure is the most effective under these conditions. In our evaluation, Pooling resources can significantly reduce the time spent in queue. In the pool system with the same variability, total demand, activity time, and utilization, we find a time in queue, WQ, of 150 seconds and a flow time, W, of 270 seconds. If we transition to a partially pooled system, splitting the demand between two queues, each with two servers, we see the time in queue rise to 336 seconds and the flow time to 456 seconds. The separate queue system, which divides the demand across 4 individual queues, each with one server, results in an even higher time in queue of 720 seconds and an overall flow time of 840 seconds. Therefore, under these conditions, a pooled system proves to be the most efficient in terms of reducing the time customers spend in queue. In the realm of queue management, pooling resources can significantly reduce the number of customers waiting in line, but it doesn't necessarily decrease the number of customers in service. Let's again consider 3 systems for context: a pooled system, a partially pooled system, and a separate queue system. In a pooled system with one queue served by multiple servers, we see inventories of 4.3 customers in the queue, LQ, and 3.4 customers in services, IP, both for each queue and for the total system. Moving on to a partially pooled system, where there are 2 queues, each served by multiple servers, we observed that the inventories increase in each queue: 4.8 customers waiting, LQ, and 1.7 customers in service, IP. However, for the total system, these numbers doubled, yielding 9.6 customers in queue and 3.4 customers in service, reflecting the effect of having 2 queues. Lastly, in a separate queue system, where each queue has its own dedicated server, the number of customers waiting in each queue is slightly higher at 5.1 LQ, while the number in service is lower at 0.86 IP. However, when aggregated for the total system, with 4 queues in this case, the number of customers waiting shoots up to 20.4, whereas the total number of customers in service remains constant at 3.4. This demonstrates the power of pooling. It significantly reduces the number of customers waiting, but does not alter the number in service. Pooling is an effective strategy for queue management because it optimizes the use of resources and minimizes customer waiting time. Let's consider 2 systems, each having 6 customers. In the pooled system, where multiple servers service a single queue, all servers are busy and only 2 customers are waiting. On the contrary, in the separate queue system, where each queue has a dedicated server, there are 2 idle servers while 4 customers are waiting. This scenario highlights the inefficiency in the separate queue system, despite having customers waiting. servers remain idle. Thus, pooling works because it allows for better resource utilization. It ensures that as long as there are customers waiting, servers will not be idle, thus reducing customer waiting time and enhancing the overall efficiency of the system. While pooling can enhance efficiency in queue management, it is crucial to also consider its potential limitations. First, a pooled system may require workers to acquire a broader set of skills, leading to more extensive training and potentially higher wages. For instance, if a call center services both McDonald's and Wendy's, its employees need to be familiar with two separate menus. Similarly, imagine a medical context where cardiac surgeons also need to be skilled at performing kidney transplants. Secondly, pooling can disrupt the customer-server relationship. In healthcare settings, for instance, patients often prefer seeing the same doctor each time. Lastly, pooling could inadvertently increase the wait times for specific customer classes. An example of this is the removal of priority security screening for first-class passengers. While it might decrease the average wait time across all passengers, it is likely to increase the wait time for the first-class passengers. As such, the application of pooling requires careful consideration of these potential trade-offs. In our journey to improve queue efficiency, there are several other methods we can adopt. Firstly, we can aim to reduce variability in both the arrival and service processes. We could utilize an appointment system to manage customers' arrival or implement discount prices for off-peak hour services. Additionally, standardizing work procedures and consistent work training can reduce service time variability, ensuring that all processes from welcoming customers to gathering their information are carried out uniformly. Regular preventive maintenance and statistical process control (SPC) can also contribute significantly to this goal. To further enhance efficiency, consider separating different types of customers to ensure that their specific needs are catered for in the most efficient way. Lastly, we can also transform customers into servers. For example, through implementing self-checkout systems, further speeding up the service process. Improving the waiting environment is crucial in ensuring customer satisfaction. Entertainment can alleviate the perceived waiting times and enhance the customer experience. Consider providing amenities such as reading materials, food, drinks, or even hiring performers. Installing informative displays or aquarium, or allowing customers to drop off their work and return later can also be beneficial. Transparent communication is also key. Regularly provide customers with realistic waiting time estimates. Inform them promptly of any problems and remind them they have not been forgotten. This can significantly improve their waiting experience. Equity is another essential factor. ensure fairness by using first come, first served queuing discipline, where appropriate, avoiding special favors, and separating higher priority from low priority customers. Physical rearrangement of queue order should be avoided, as it can lead to dissatisfaction among customers.